What's funny also is I was in a completely different market too, and I
Right.
basically abandoned ship entirely. I mean, I had months where I was making six figures in Atlanta. I basically was like, all right, you know, if I'm going to partner with John and John's in Florida, it would be way easier of a learning curve since I had more experience to just hop into his market than vice versa. And I was like, because I was of the mentality of it's not the market at all. It's literally me.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Skorch the Fears. We're here with John and Mahmoud, two previous guests. I love them so much, but since I last talked to them, they've freaking teamed up. So I wanted to bring them on here. I wanted to talk about their journey so far, especially with teaming up and like bringing on a partner and all that good stuff, right? And I just really want to do it because like I love these guys and I think it would be cool to have them on this time as partners instead of separate. Mahmoud, I think you were like my fifth guest. John must have been like my 24th or something. I think we're on like number 70 or number 72. I got to have him put the thing in the YouTube channel. But welcome, guys. Welcome back to Skorch the Fears.
Thanks for having us, brother.
For having us, man.
Love it. Awesome. So cool. Can you guys quickly just introduce what Snap Flip is real quick? And let's just do that just for the few people that don't know it.
Yeah. So Snap Flip is mine and Mahmoud's. It's our company. We're called Snap Flip Investments. We're just Snap Flip for short. So wholesale operation right now. We're predominantly out of Central Florida right now, expanding to all of Florida. And the goal is to go through all of Florida, then go into a couple other markets, and then eventually franchise it out. Did I lose you, Jonah?
Sorry, guys. I'm having like a few audio issues here.
You good,
Can
man?
one of you guys start talking?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Sorry. Why isn't this working? I all of a sudden had the audio working, and then now it's not working.
We hear
Give
you.
me 5 seconds.
We hear you. And we hear each other.
Yeah.
But he doesn't hear us.
Let's just take over Jonah's podcast.
Let's now the Snap Flip podcast.
The Snap Flip podcast. Welcome, guys.
So, can you read lips, Jonah?
There we go. Holy Jesus. All right. I am so sorry, guys. These guys are probably so mad at me. They're just like, dude, this guy is giving us the worst treatment ever.
One more strike, and I'm down.
I'm like started 5 minutes late. My audio's not working.
We were going to continue the podcast without you.
You should have. That would have been
I
really
I could have knocked you out, and then I would have changed the line to the
Thank God you guys are my friends. I don't know what's been up with all my stuff today. All right. Thank God it's working now. Cool. We got that going. Awesome. Okay. You guys explained what Snap Flip was, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why did you guys team up? Why did you guys decide to do that in general?
I'll let Mahmoud take that because it was pretty much he's the one who approached me with the idea.
Yeah. So basically I got into this about, almost 2 years before me and John even met. And, it was essentially through going through like the business and, building my own, operations, starting to, get the hang of getting deals done on my own. And whenever you're doing any sort of like business endeavor, you start to become very aware of what you're really, really good at, what you do, essentially better than everybody else. Right. And then also what you might have, what you might not be as good at, or you might not enjoy. And I started to realize, after, seeing all the success that I was seeing, that I could possibly take it to the next level by welcoming into my sphere the people that have the skills that I'm not the best at and level up. And so, I approached John when I saw him once doing a live with Jamil, and just through everything from his like personality to communication skills and what drives him and like the things that he liked to enjoy, primarily like acquisitions, having conversations with agents, and just his overall vision for his career. I knew that there was definitely a great room for compatibility, and so I approached him and we partnered up and started Snap Flip.
Gotcha. So then how'd you take that, John, or what were you thinking? Like, what made you want to partner up?
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, when I first joined Astro, it was after the Secret Agent Challenge 1.0, which Jonah, you were on, Mahmoud was on, Michelle and Paul and Zolan and all those people. And then there was something like once I joined and I saw Mahmoud was like really good at like systems, and that was always the integrator part was like I knew that was something I wasn't the best at, creating systems, processes, and organization like that. And then like I always had like a gut feeling, and I'm a big guy that like walks through faith. So anytime I have like a gut feeling, like a strong gut feeling, I follow it. My gut told me to join Astro, and my gut was also telling me before Mahmoud and I ever partnered up that I'm not going to partner up with anybody else unless it's somebody like Mahmoud. And then when he approached me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about partnering and we'll do the Florida market. Like, how do you feel about that?" And I was like, yeah, that sounds good to me. And then we spent like a month and a half just coming up with the name, building up like the systems and the foundation and the SOPs and how we're going to do what, do an interview process. And then we officially like launched it. I think October 3rd was our first like actual like launch date.
Gotcha. What does that conversation look like for like people who are thinking about partnering up? What should the people worry about? What should people be looking for?
Yeah.
Like what, because it's like a really complicated process, right, guys? Like you don't want to just jump in it with anybody. You want to do it with someone where it makes sense to partner up. So what should you look for in a partner? And when should you partner up? And like, should everyone partner up? Let's start with just like, that's a lot of questions, but like, let's start with like, how do you know who's the right partner?
Right. I think in order to know who's the right partner to essentially partner in any business venture with, it's important first to know yourself before you start to know your partner. You really need to be aware of who you are, to have almost this immaculate self-awareness of yourself and how you operate, not just like the things that you know right now. Sometimes it's not about what you know at that point. In my case, I knew a lot, but regardless, it's transcends, the conversation transcends way beyond that, right? It's about kind of, does your potential and in the areas that you are excelling at, is that compatible? It doesn't mean the same, but is it compatible with that other person? So for example, if you're somebody who is just loves to work and you're extremely hardworking, any task that somebody puts in front of you, you don't get any discomfort from it. You're just gonna come and attack and get it done. And you're great at seeing kind of a long-term vision of like where you want to go, and you don't necessarily know how you're going to get there, but you're just someone who's just, you have a dream and you're ready to work for it. But maybe your shortcoming is you're not super well versed on how to get it done. Maybe you don't know how to pivot, how to essentially come up with how to adapt and solve problems in the spot. Maybe you're just really a person who works really hard and just has a great vision for success. You're going to do really well if your partner is somebody who knows how to solve problems, how to come up with ideas, even if they're not 100% see the same vision as you. Maybe they just know how to solve problems all the time and they're just really good at figuring stuff out. And maybe you help them with executing the like you basically come up to them with like, okay, like we need to solve this, and then they figure out how to do it, and then they kind of help plan like the vision. So that's like one way to do it. It's just, as long as all of the components in terms of like the will to execute, the idea to the ability to develop a plan and the ability to have a goal is all there, at that point those are the most important parts of leadership, and you can assemble a team that can come in and get everything done. But it really depends on who you are, because all these components have to exist. I mean, if it's two partners who both have this amazing vision, but nobody really knows how to do anything, or there's not any immaculate like problem solving ability between the two of you, it doesn't really make any sense. It just means taking inventory of what's required to build an amazing team and making sure that at least between the two people, all of those components exist.
Gotcha. What's your opinion on that, John?
Yeah. So like, ask the question again.
Okay. So the question is like, how do you know you have the right partner, basically? Like, I think was basically the question.
So one thing I like highly, like if I didn't have a gut feeling, again, and this is the way I am, all right, Mahmoud operates differently. His brain works differently than me. He goes down and I pretty much go with my gut. But like if I didn't have a gut feeling about Mahmoud and like I already had like, if my ideal partner that I saw myself with was somebody pretty much like Mahmoud, it was actually him. And that's how I knew it was right, because it was in my gut. But for anybody else that doesn't like just follow like gut feelings or have like that sense, I would say you have to date somebody first. Like I tell people, don't do what I did. Like I wouldn't recommend everybody just do what him and I did, where we just like partnered up and we never did a deal together before. We worked on one deal that went horribly wrong. And actually all three of us worked on that one. And we just like, we kind of knew each other. Like I took his course once and that was it. And I would say like do a couple of deals together, like start doing a lot of JVs together, see how you guys work together. Like you don't want somebody like you. I wouldn't want somebody like if Mahmoud was just going heavy on outreach and wasn't good at processes and wasn't good at systems, like I wouldn't have partnered with him because I don't need another me. I need somebody that's like almost like the opposite, that complements me. If I'm like left and I need somebody who's right. I don't want two lefts on the team, or at least in the equity team. So I would say you just date somebody first, like see how you guys work together, see how you guys make decisions together, see how you guys tackle when you both want to do something differently together and how you guys are able to problem solve. So you're going to want that experience. You're going to want that time together to see, because you don't want to put something in stone and say, all right, we'll split 50-50. And then your first big problem, you guys have a huge fight. And it's like, I hate this guy. I don't even want to be with him anymore. Like I shouldn't have partnered with him.
Right.
Like, you don't want that. So I would say I highly recommend don't do what we did, kind of where we didn't have that dating period. Me and Mahmoud kind of just like, all right, let's just get married. And it's been a great marriage so far. So, but I went with my gut. He went in a more analytical way. I went in a more faith-based way, but it worked out. But I would recommend people to like date your partner first. And then if you guys work really well together and you're closing deals and you're able to solve problems together and not really like butt heads too much. If you butt heads, it's in a constructive way. That's how you would know you have the right person.
Yeah. And on top of that, making sure that the vision aligns between both people is super, super important. Like, that's especially for people who are trying to right now look for somebody to do business with, start an organization with. The vision has to be very aligned. Like, it's not going to, I can tell you right now, it's not going to work if one partner basically just wants to get to a point where they're getting, making like $10,000 a month, and just taking care of their family, living steady, maybe spending, just like a small portion of the week on the business and trying to get to a point where it's just comfortable. And the other partner wants to basically, create a 9-figure business, right? It's not going to work. It's going to dissolve very quickly if the vision is unaligned.
Yeah, and same thing with your values too. Like not like money goals also. Like if one of us was like, hey, let's always do highest and best. I don't care. Let's always try to snake people out of deals. Let's see how we can make the most money. But the other person's like, no, man, listen, there's an abundance of money. Let's try to do deals with people. Let's give the buyers, create something where like the buyers love us because we value their relationships. Like if one person values money over relationships and the other values relationships over money, it's not going to work out because you guys are going to be coming from this at completely different angles. So you need somebody whose goals and vision also align with your values as well. And that's again why you date somebody too, because you see when money comes and money's involved, you'll see somebody's like true colors and emotions when it comes to money.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. Yeah, I definitely get it. Like, so what do you feel like talk about exactly how you guys split it up, right? Because I think you guys split it up perfectly. I've talked to you guys before, and it's the visionary integrator thing, right? It's rocket fuel in the end, right? Like that's the most important thing, I think, is making sure you have the right split. And Mahmoud, you were getting into it a little bit, but my version of visionary integrator is the visionary is the one who knows what to do, and then the integrator comes in and is like, okay, now I'm going to make that actually happen.
Right.
So like for instance, if I had an integrator, it would be, I need a cold calling system. Mahmoud, we need to be cold calling our dead leads. Can you connect that somehow to our CRM? And then that's how it would work. That's in my head how it would work. How does it work for you guys? Is that correct, or how does that work?
Yeah. So here's what's funny about that is, and me and John, we talk about this a lot. And here's also the thing is like, we don't like to box ourselves in, right? It's because, whoever's read, if you've read Rocket Fuel and if you kind of understand the basic principle of, the integrator roles or visionary roles, it's very important because all of those combined roles is basically everything you need in order to, have great leadership in a company. But I don't really subscribe to the idea that, one person is going to be doing 100% of the integrator, tasks, and the other person is visionary. It's basically because like people are so complex, human beings are so different, that when you, in any sort of capacity in life, when you box somebody in, it's not always just the best fit. Like I definitely do more of the traditional, like integrator roles, and John does more of the traditional visionary roles, but it's it's definitely not, separated like that. It's to where, we just create a forum where everybody does what they feel called and compelled to do, but as long as both of those boxes, integrator and visionary, between the two of us, it's all 100%, it's incorporated, right?
Yeah. And like even when you read Rocket Fuel too, and you take those tests, like they even say like nobody's going to get 100 on visionary or 100 on integrator. You're just going to be more of one, but everybody's a little bit of both. So like there's times where Mahmoud has a visionary idea and then I have an integrator solution.
Yeah.
So like it's back and forth. So like the fact that like we're not like, oh, I'm the visionary, you can't have ideas, and and I'm the integrator, you can't
Exactly.
give me solutions. That like boxing ourselves in just will literally constrict the company because it doesn't give us that creative freedom to wear both hats. Now, I'm not saying like we're just constantly switching hats all the time. And I'm like, let me try to do some integrative stuff because I just did some visionary stuff and I got to fill that integrator pipe. Like, no, it's just knowing that like Mahmoud's like, hey, I'm working on something. He might be in the weeds for so long on something for integration. And I just see the overall side of it. And then I have like an integrator idea. And the same thing, like he might have a great idea for the future of agent outreach. And I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. I think maybe we could try doing it like this way though. And then so that's why we complement each other. When I'm working as a visionary, he's working as an integrator. When he's working as a visionary, I'm working as an integrator. So it kind of really works well that way. And the fact that neither of us say like, no, you're the integrator, I'm the visionary. Like we don't even like using that as much.
Yeah.
We're like CEO, COO, because it always makes the person who's the COO or the integrator feel like they're in second place or like they're like the other person's better than them in some way. We don't want that ego to come into the business and create that separation. So we say your unique ability is systems and processes, and my unique ability might be like marketing and big picture stuff, but that's what it is. It's our unique ability. It's not like you're integrator, I'm visionary, I'm the face, you listen to me. Like, it's none of that at all.
Exactly. And at the same time, it's kind of like, it's not to where like, oh, like, this person's the integrator, so the visionary better not touch anything. Don't tell me what to do. I know everything about how to do it. You just stand over there, look pretty, and just, be the face of the company. It's not like that, right? It's just making sure that between the two people, all of that stuff is covered. And it just, people are going to perform the best when they're allowed to, there's an understanding that they're able to authentically do what they're great at and what they enjoy. And companies perform better that way.
Gotcha. No, that totally makes sense. I really like it a lot. So what happens when you guys have a problem and there's like and you guys disagree on the solution? How do you solve that? What's the compromise, or what do you do?
We sit on it usually, right?
I mean, we have a meeting about it, and
Yeah.
I'll say my piece, and then he'll say his piece, and then we'll both at one point. There's only been like one or two things where we didn't come to a consensus, and we tabled it, and then the more we thought about it, then we came to a consensus. And sometimes we take we're like, okay, I see where you're coming from on that, but listen, I really trust me. Like, I don't think we need to change this, but I think we should try to implement that. And then we'll kind of have like, it won't be his idea or my idea that wins. It'll sometimes, most of the time, be a culmination of both. And that's the way it is. Like, we don't, our ego goes to the side. So if I say something and Mahmoud's like, I don't know, what about this? I'm not like, no, I don't like that because it's his idea. I'm like, you know what? Actually, thinking about that, that actually sounds better than mine. So yeah, let's do that. Let's actually do that instead. Let's give that a shot. But can we also just add this piece to it too? So that's the way we solve problems. We just get on we literally we'll put out a list of things we got to discuss, and then we'll figure it out. And if we can't agree on something, and we both see where we're coming from, and we still aren't on the same page, we'll just table it.
Yep.
Unless it's something super important, we'll figure it out. Usually by, again, probably implementing a little bit of both. Like, hey, I like this about your idea, but I don't like this. And it's the same thing. And like, well, what if we try to just
give us an example? You got any examples that you think?
Yeah, I just to add on top of that first, and the reason that works out so well is when there's that common goal, right? And when there's trust between two people, it allows people to essentially, both partners, to set their ego aside when making decisions. Like, for example, if I'm like hell bent on a certain way of doing something, and then John comes in and comes in with his idea that I initially wasn't in favor of, and he talks about it, explains it, and he convinces me, and I'm convinced, regardless of how much I was, like excited about that other idea, for example, I would completely just switch sides because, it's the trust. It's completely, thinking about the big picture. There's no ego that you hold on to. You're really just trying to work together to create that common goal and trust each other. So it's super smooth when the relationship and the dynamic is that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I have an example right now of how so we had in the beginning, we had an issue with acquisitions. We weren't getting as many contracts as we thought. Now all of our offers were significantly under list price. And it was I was doing it where I would just download all of the properties in there, and then we just upload them. I'd call all the agents, I'd comp them, and then I'd make those offers, or I'd defer, or I'd price check them, whatever it was. And then Mahmoud was asked what we're doing for that, and I told him, and then he goes, I don't know, man. I think we just gotta submit, because we weren't submitting as many offers because we were more relationship based. And he goes, I don't know, man. I think we got to submit as many offers as possible. Let's just comp the deals first, and then we'll just send out offers like that. Like, we sometimes don't have to call agents. And I was like, I really don't think that's the way to go. And we went back and forth. And what we agreed upon was, we're not comping deals first, but what we would do is we'd soft vet properties first. We'd soft vet them. So we're only calling agents on ones we think we have a higher likelihood of offering on and offer getting accepted. So now if we have 5 addresses come in, there's an 80% chance we're offering on all 5 of those. If there's 20 addresses that come in that pass the soft vet, we're going to offer on at least 20 out of the 25 probably. So we started doing the soft vetting, and then it turned into soft vetting, pulling up the agents, and now our difference from list price on average went from $140,000 to $80,000 because of both of us didn't agree on something, and we merged our ideas and came up with an even better way.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha. I like it a lot. So then what's like in terms of like partnering, what's like the base, because you both have now run organizations by yourselves and organizations with each other. What's like, let's go with the biggest, obviously you guys are definitely very pro of partnering up for people in general. So what's the biggest pro of having a partner, and what's the biggest challenge, if you would?
Yeah, I can answer that. So I'd say the biggest pro is the speed at which you arrive at your goal. Well, I mean, there's just so many pros. I could keep on listing them, and some of them are equally as great. I mean, like I'd say like the rate at which you reach your goal is definitely higher when you're partnering with someone. The level of fulfillment within your work is a lot higher because there's more people that you develop a really close friend relationship with as you're doing it, which just makes the entire thing more enjoyable. The stability of income is much more because when you have more people working on the same thing, you're essentially have, if one person is, because if it's just you, if you're underperforming, your that directly affects your output substantially. But if you have like several people in an organization, and like someone wants to go on vacation, or there's a tiny bit of a lull, that doesn't really affect business too much, as long as that person finishes up, bounces back, and it's all good, right? And so it's consistency, right? Like, because obviously you go from making 100% of each transaction to maybe making like 35 to 40% of each transaction, right? After, when you have like a giant team. But how many deals are you doing in the giant team? Way, way more. You're making more money. It's more consistent and it's more stable. And everyone's kind of just like on the same train together, and they're just working together to make it move. It's a lot smoother. And then the biggest, I wouldn't even say like con, because it's not really a con, but the biggest like drawback, in my opinion, would be the fact that, you have to basically, you're not deciding everything by yourself. But that also is a pro, because sometimes you find holes in what you were doing by having people disagree with you. So I struggle to actually find cons of partnering up, but that's like the closest thing. But it's not. It's actually a pro.
How about you,
Yeah.
John?
I mean, pretty much the same exact thing. Like winning with somebody else, building it up with somebody else. It's more fun doing things with other people and winning with other people than it is with yourself, especially like the decision-making process. Like you get it from a different angle too. So you're able to just do more. You're able to spend the time in the areas you enjoy doing more and what you're better at, instead of doing everything yourself. And you get time back too. Like, I mean, if like, for instance, I'm like, hey, Mahmoud, man, I got to take care. I got to go drive my grandma up to her cousin's. I'm going to be gone for 3 hours. Can you handle the fort? Yeah, bro, I got you. No worries. All right, thanks. And business doesn't stop. You know what I mean? But when you're by yourself, if you got to go drive grandma up to her cousin's in upstate New York, business stops, and then your phone doesn't stop blowing up. And then you get over, then you're like, you get back, you're like, oh my God, I got all these things that I got to do now. Like I got to try to move on this. And if you're wholesaling and you do a lot of JV deals, you got to be fast. So you could miss 5 deals because, even though you're having quality time with grandma, nothing's done none of your business. So that's like really an awesome thing. And then like the con is the same thing. It's just, some people think the cons are going to be like, oh, I'm going to make less money. But, Tim Broad said this on many podcasts. When you partner, instead of getting 100% of a grape, you're going to get like 50% of a watermelon. And you're just going to make, right? So yeah, you might be each deal taking home more, but if I'm doing 5 deals alone and then 25 deals of Mahmoud, I'm going to make a lot more net with the 25 deals. I might make more per deal by myself, but overall I'm making more Mahmoud.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I still don't have a partner, and I keep like going back and forth on it. I literally yesterday when the Instagram live was talking to John and being like, I think I need to do this, and I keep going back and forth. And the reason is if I keep going back and forth, then I see you guys, I'm like, man, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should just partner up with somebody. But it's hard and it's interesting. And this was something I wanted to talk to you, especially Mahmoud, about, because Mahmoud, I'm curious, because when you were doing it, right? Like, I think you were more experienced than John at the time. Like, you were doing more deals than John at the time. What made you willing to partner with John or want to partner with John, even if at that time you were doing more deals?
What's funny also is I was in a completely different market too. And I basically abandoned ship entirely. I mean, I had months where I was making 6 figures in Atlanta. I basically was like, all right, if I'm going to partner with John's in Florida, it would be way easier of a learning curve, since I had more experience, to just hop into his market than vice versa. And I was like, because I was of the mentality of, it's not the market at all. It's literally me. I can bring my talents anywhere, and we'll recreate it. For me, what made it to where I saw immaculate and immense value is because I wasn't thinking about the next month, the next 2 months, the next 6 months, or the next year when it comes to partnering up. In fact, I knew in my mind that, I might be making $1 million less in the next 12 months than I normally would by partnering with John. I knew that because I needed now to create this organization. We needed to build from scratch. I still have all the experience up here, but we needed to start over. The reason why I did that is because I was thinking about sustainability, and I was thinking about my future. Because I asked myself, I was like, I'm spending like 12 to 16 hours a day doing this. It's burning me out. It's not really that fun anymore, but it's kind of like, how long am I going to do it like this? Am I going to do
Right.
it like this another month? Am I do this another year? Am I going to make a certain amount of money and then just stop? What's the point? What's the purpose? What's the whole goal? Like, why? Just why am I doing this? Right. And then I realized, like, okay, by partnering up with John, now it's not about me anymore. Now it's about him and his family. It's about our employees and their family. It's about building this massive organization with all of these staff members and partners and their families. And so it number one, it added more purpose to what I was doing. It made it more fun. But also, I knew that I probably wouldn't have been able to, continue driving for that long by myself. It was either I partner or I burn the heck out, and that's it. I'm done. I'm out of gas. So I was like, okay, I need to find the person that I trust and I believe is going to see this with me to $1 billion Forbes 500 like company, or I'm going to burn out. Because now I started thinking, like, what is going to be beneficial for my family in 5, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Like, what is it that's going to be making this giant dent? And for me, I saw that as partnering with John and creating this massive conglomerate entity was a lot more like fulfilling than down the line, especially than doing what I was doing now. Even though right now, during that time period, I was making a lot more money than I could ever spend. But I was thinking about the sustainability of it. I didn't see what I was doing would be any impact. What I was doing at the time would have just been a story that I told my kids 10 years later or 15 years later. I didn't see it sustainable. So I thought that was the best option.
Interesting. I like that. That was mainly a question for Mahmoud in that sense. But it seems like, so John, just for you, how you decided, it was just like a gut feeling, like you just felt it.
Yeah, like it's gonna sound like strange, but like when I was watching the Secret Agent Challenge at one point, and it was Mahmoud's day, I just felt like I just felt like for some reason like there was a connection there that
this guy needed a lot of help. No, I'm just
kidding. Yeah, I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Clearly, when he's talking to agents, he needs somebody on his team. But no, I mean, just felt like there was that connection, and I don't know what it was or why it was, but there was always that part of me that just like I felt like, and I kind of knew down the line that me and Mahmoud would do something, or like when somebody said partner, like Mahmoud came into my mind. So like it was a weird like calling, I would say. Like I joined Astro Flipping on that same gut feeling. I had that gut feeling after. I was like, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm drawn to Mahmoud. Like we're going to be drawn together. I don't know what it is or why it is. I also didn't act on it yet, but like I had that gut feeling. So then when he said it to me, I was like, oh, there it is. That's why. And it makes sense. So yes, let's do it, because I've had this feeling for like 6 months before he even brought it to me, So that's why I chose Mahmoud. I didn't really choose Mahmoud. I mean, Mahmoud was already chosen for me before I even was able to make a decision.
I like it. Boys, I appreciate you so much. Is there any last words?
No, John, man, I appreciate you. You on Secret Agent Challenge 1.0, just having a good time with agents was also one of the reasons why I joined Astro Flipping in the first place, which then led me to wholesaling, which led me to Mahmoud, which will eventually lead me to become a billionaire. So appreciate you for jumpstarting my entrepreneurship career.
So it was all me.
It was all Jonah. No, actually, Mahmoud, I think we got to break our partnership. I got to partner with.
I also got Mahmoud into Astro, so there we go. You
guys got to tell that story. You guys got to tell that story one day of how Mr. Buyer.
We will tell it one day. One day, my YouTube channel will know how Mahmoud became mean. It was all because of me. I'm joking. I'm joking. Boys, you guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys. I don't know when's the next time I'm going to see you. Do you guys have any events you're going to soon?
Probably. I'm not making it to the mastermind. I think you're going, right?
Yeah, I'll probably be there.
Okay, I'm not going to the mastermind, so we'll see each other at some point. And I always see you guys. I literally see you every single day, John.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
So I'll see you tomorrow. All right, boys. I will see y'all later. Skorch the Fears, episode 79, I think, or something like that.
Episode Snap
Let's
Flip.
go. Episode Snap Flip. Thank you guys for the advice. I will see y'all next week, 5 p.m. PST. Let's freaking go.